Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. A special event occurred about a year ago in Schnellville as a celebration for the upcoming Schnellville Sesquicentennial. It was so popular, they're bringing it back, and that is the Voices of Schnellville. And joining us in the studio are two of the actors, also the coordinators for the Voices of Schnellville event, and that is Ed Uebelhor and Tara Hopf, a father and daughter, by the way.
Yes.
All right, welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so last year you did the Voices of Schnellville, which I thought was really a cool idea. Let's describe what is the Voices of Schnellville.
Well, the Voices of Schnellville is like an original outdoor theater production, and it features characters from Schnellville's past. We kind of based it off of a book by Edgar Lee Masters, which was called Spoon River Anthology, which was a book about epitaphs from people living in a small fictional town in Illinois. But in our production, we are featuring people from Schnellville, kind of telling their stories of life in Schnellville back in the day.
And not fictional people.
No,
These
not
are
fictional people.
Real people? That,
Yes.
Okay. And who plays the parts in this play?
Well,
Most of the people are from Schnellville or have ties to Schnellville.
Okay.
Many of the actors are playing their own ancestors in the play, which is very unique.
Yeah, it's a neat idea because it's also outdoors, and it will be held this coming weekend. Is it 28th, 29th?
28th
Yes.
and 29th.
Okay,
August 28th and 29th, and it's outside of the rectory at the Sacred Heart Church on the lawn, with the cemetery kind of in the background, and it starts at 8:30 p.m. because it hopefully will be starting to get dark at that time, which will add a nice effect to our production.
How long is the production? About an hour, 2 hours?
It's about 2 hours.
Okay. And you're switching it around from where you had it last year. You're
Yes.
putting the stage down at the bottom of the hill. not
Yes,
at the top of
last
the
year
hill.
some of the people said they couldn't see very well, so we will be performing at the bottom of the hill. The people will be sitting on the hillside. It'll be like a natural auditorium, and they should be able to see quite well.
Okay, now the one thing about this is you should bring your lawn chairs. You should
Yes.
bring your
That's right.
blankets, whatever you need.
Yes, lawn chairs and blankets for seating. We are not charging admission, but we will have a free will donation that will be taken up at intermission. And we also will have a concession stand with light refreshments and drinks available for purchase. And all of the proceeds will go to the Schnellville Sesquicentennial, which is going to take place on September 18th through the 20th of this year.
That's right. You're celebrating 150 years.
That's right.
We'll come back to the Voices of Schnellville. Let's talk about the Sesquicentennial a little
Okay.
bit. That is the 18th, 19th, 20th?
That's correct.
Okay, and you are having, I'm sure, entertainment and all kinds of activities Friday and Saturday, and things wrap up Sunday with a parade.
That's
correct.
right.
Which typically Schnellville does not have a parade, but since it's
No.
your 150th, so every 25 years you have a
Right.
parade.
We did have the Fireman's Parade in Schnellville last year,
Right.
so we got a little practice with that.
Okay, and I was a judge for that.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And we will be filming the Queen Contest, which is the Saturday before, and we'll be filming the parade and airing it on 18 WJTS TV.
That's great.
Okay, now let's go back to the Voices of Schnellville. Remember, the Sesquicentennial is coming up the 18th, 19th, and 20th of September.
That's right.
Now, the Voices of Schnellville is this Friday and Saturday, the 28th and 29th of August. Okay, Schnellville is not that big that you're going to get lost trying to find the church.
No.
Okay, and if
If
you
you
find
make
the
it to
church,
Schnellville,
you'll
you'll
find
find the church.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what people will see at the play. What will be happening?
Well, we have a list of characters, and they kind of tell their story from what life was like back in Schnellville in the early 1800s to the early 1900s. We actually start out with a Native American family because they were here long before us Europeans came over, and then we kind of lead into a group of residents that lived in a town called Worth, which actually sits where Schnellville sits today. They kind of tell their story about life before Schnellville even actually existed, and then there are some characters that depict the founding of Schnellville in November of 1865, and some of those include Henry Schnell, who is our founder, and we also bring Abraham Lincoln into the play because we wanted to tie in national events along with local events. And my dad actually plays Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
You look like Abe right now today.
Well, thank you.
Is this how you always look, or is it you just doing this for the past year and a half?
Past year and a half.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready for the centennial plus the play itself. So I'm gonna have to put a little color on this to make it look
Okay.
authentic.
And you got a top hat?
Yes, I do.
All right, you're all set, ready to go. And Terry, you play a character?
I do, yes. I play Catherine Buchart. She is the wife of Joseph Buchart, who was a very prominent businessman in Schnellville. He owned a general store and a saloon and other types of businesses in town. So I kind of tell what life was like living kind of high on the hog in Schnellville back in the day.
Now, you have some special props this year as opposed to last year.
Yes, like we said, we're turning the play around. We need some backdrops. We're going to have a wagon with some wheat that was threshed, or not threshed, but was binded here a few weeks ago when we did a antique binding there at the community club. We will have that as a backdrop. And more importantly, we were going to have some stained glass windows, 6 stained glass windows that came out of the first church in Schnellville that was built in 1876. These stained glass windows have the names of the donors on the windows, and by chance, all the donors are characters in our play except for one.
Wow!
So that is going to add something to the play, and people can come early, look at the artifacts, and take a look at them, and they will definitely be there.
Are these stained glass windows ever available for view?
The stained glass windows have been in storage for 99 years now, since our present church was built in 1916. They've been in storage. Very few people have seen them. I think it's time to get them out and let the public see them.
This is such a neat concept. The Voices of Schnellville, taking a play at your Sesquicentennial and leading up to it. And that's why you did it last year. Yes. And so successful, you're doing it again this year.
Yeah, we're back by popular demand.
And the reason you have a Sesquicentennial is to celebrate your history. And this is just a terrific way of doing it. Where did this concept come from, and who wrote the stories?
Well, a few years ago, and when we started planning for the Sesquicentennial, they started forming committees, and I was asked to be on the history book committee. I think the reason they asked me is because I was a lifelong resident of Schnellville, and they thought that I was so old that I'd remember the whole history of Schnellville, which was probably pretty good thinking, but I think my memory's slipping a little. But anyway, I started studying the history of Schnellville, and I was intrigued by the history. You know, Schnellville was a bustling little town back in its day, but I was more intrigued by the people that made up the history, the town of Schnellville back in the day. So I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if these people could come from the hereafter and tell their story? So that's what we are trying to do. I got a little bit of an idea from the Spoon River anthology that was put on in Forest Park High School back in the 90s, where my daughter and my sons took part in that. And like Tara had said, it's a fictional town in Illinois where people come out and told their story. So that is what we're trying to do with the Schnellville residents. Of course, we had to write the scripts for these characters, but we did some research, and hopefully that we're give a good representation of what they would really want to say to us today.
What sort of crowd are you looking for? Because this is such a neat concept. I mean, how many did you have last year?
We were blown away by the crowd we had last year. It was a really cool, windy October night, and we probably had 400 to 500 people out on the lawn watching, which was awesome.
How many people live in Schnellville?
I don't really know.
Maybe 100.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
So we had a great turnout. So we heard so many positive comments from people that were there last year, and we had intended only to do this one time. And everyone was asking, will you do it again? Will you do it again? So we were providing 2 encore performances this year instead of only 1 performance. And this is our finale. We're not doing it again after this, unless they want to do it 25 years from now.
Well, that's a good idea. Sure. And now, what if there is inclement weather? It'll still be held.
It will be held.
Right.
Yes.
We're hoping to use the Sacred Heart Church, the inside of Sacred Heart Church, if we do have inclement weather. Okay. But we're praying that we don't have to deal with that.
It's going to be great. It's August. It's going to be great weather.
So far, looking ahead, the forecast looks good, but we'll keep our fingers crossed.
And this is a family play. This is something you want families to come to share the history of Schnellville, and really share the history of DuBois County.
Right.
Because you'll learn a little about what it was like for all the towns, back in the 1800s.
And anybody that's interested in local history, or especially if they have ties to Schnellville, it's a must-see.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add about the show?
Well, our show is directed by Susan Breyer, and Susan has experience with working with acting at Actors Community Theater. She's directed 7 plays there, and she was also a past board member there, so we're very thankful to her for helping all of us out, helping us figure out where's the best place to set the props, giving us pointers on how to present our program to people.
So it's the Voices of Schnellville this Friday and Saturday. At what time again?
8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m. Okay, and it's a
Come early. Come early. Look at some of our artifacts that we have out there. One more thing I would like to add: we will have books for sale with all the scripts in it for $5. We will have the new history book that just come back from the printer, and it's a real well put together book for $10, and that's a bargain price. They will be for sale at the play. So and the play itself, free will donation.
All right, make sure you bring your lunch or bring a chair. Tell your friends about it. And then this is a way to get yourself ready for the Schnellville Sesquicentennial, which will be occurring toward the latter part of September. Thanks to both of you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
We'd like to thank Tara Hopf and Ed Uebelhor. They are actors, writers, parts of the Voices of Schnellville this Friday and Saturday night at 8:30 near the Schnellville Church. Thank you for watching WJTS in.form. We're local people watching local people.